What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Sunday breakdown. So, this week we wanted to start off with looking at index. So, I don't know if you know, but you can actually predict how prices, like US dollar movements, you can actually predict it using the index. So, in this case, we have a channel, and it seems like price has already reached its peak on the channel. So, the major keys that we have. So, first we have this area around 100 points, then we have also around 103 points. Then from there we have these key areas 1 to 3 point on the channel. So these are the small key areas. So what we are expecting for US dollar is to weaken a bit, so against the other pairs. So I'm going to show you with I'm going to look at USD Mexican peso, USD Rand, Euro USD, I think. Then on the index, of course, some people they don't trade it because like the margin required is a little bit bigger, so you can just only look at it just to get a little bit hints. Then that's all. So I'm gonna look at Euro index also. Then we go through the pairs. So on Euro index, what we have this resistance, like, but it's a little bit way below, so we're not looking at this, and we're not looking at this resistance also on top because there's still a little gap. I mean, it's gonna take a little bit. This is a daily time frame, so it's gonna take a little bit longer to go to the upside. But since this is a falling wedge, we have much better chance of going to the upside. Like the bigger probability will be to the upside instead, since we have a falling wedge. So what we have right now, we have 1 2 3 4. So this is the fourth touch on this area. Then we have 1 2 3. So we are now waiting for price to pull back to the upside. So what we are expecting is like a little bit of strength in the euro pair. So on every euro pair, try to look for strengthening of the euro instead of weakening side of it. So right now, let's just jump in onto the pairs. So it's been a while since we talked about gold, US dollar. So gold for the major keys 1792. Then we have here where price is, like where price was currently at, so 1532. So I'm just gonna zoom it in and show you what we are looking at and what we are looking for. So since we have this ascending channel, if you've watched my market structure video, you know that when you have an ascending channel towards resistance, look for sells, and I mean with bigger volumes instead, because it's a high probability. It's not just an ascending channel where you see bounces on what you call them on resistance, so you can see bounce and a big fall. So I'm just gonna zoom it in to go on a smaller time frame. So this is a dead time frame. Just wanna see on a smaller time frame what we are looking for. Since I want to I want to give emphasis on a smaller time frame, like I want to give emphasis on this channel. Zoomed it in into 2 hour time frame. So what we have is this ascending channel. It touches, I mean, first touch was supposed to be approximately here, second touch, third touch, then approximately fourth touch. It didn't really touch the resistance, but almost there. Then patterns that we want to look at is this thing here. So I don't know if you looked from way back, we also had this kind of structure. I mean, we always say patterns always repeat themselves, and it already did. So same structure, same structure here, price moving down, ascending, price move down, ascending, then same thing that is going to happen. So since price has already done this, I don't really think price is going to move to the downside straight to this resistance. So this is the reason why I put this resistance. So if we're going to be selling this, you can wait for a little bit consultation for Monday, then you continue the downside, or you can sell it then put your stop loss a little bit above here. But the problem with gold is it has high margin, so like the margin requirement is too big, so I don't really advise to take a trade before you consider where you're gonna put your stop loss, and if you're gonna be risking this much, it's gonna be risky. So that's what I'm trying to say. So you can wait for a little bit consolidation, move to the downside, or you can just sell. Then from here try to look for familiar setups, then you can actually buy, or you can actually continue the downside. Or what can happen is you can have a structure like this. So just gonna draw it in. So you can have a structure something like this. So you can have price movement like this to the downside, move to the upside, bounces over here, goes downside, then from there you can actually shoot to the upside. So this is a descending channel towards the resistance. So this is a high probability setup. You can actually wait for a buy over here, or you can just buy and sell in this descending channel. This pair has been on our watch list for 3 weeks now, so this is the third week I think. Eurozar. So I've been talking about this flag for a while, and since like when we're not finding an entry, and like there was a reason for that, because now there are structures that we are seeing right now that are giving us hints. So as I talked about on the index, so the euro index, and I was saying we are expecting strength in euro. So euros are expected weaknesses are, then euro is gonna be the strong currency over here. So as I explained on the previous videos, this, let me just circle it for you. So impulse, correction, then impulse. That's the same as what we have here. So impulse, correction, impulse. So that's the thing that we have. So just going to delete for you, then delete this. So that what we have here. So I'm just gonna show you what we had last week, what we actually traded. So I actually circled this one when I sent this in our group. So this, as you can see, is the same thing as an inverse of this. So this is just this, and if you invert it, it will be like this. So I'm just going to do it for you on the web button to this extent. Let me delete this for you. Delete and delete. So as you can see here, if you take this and you invert it, you invert it, you put it over here, you can see that the same price movement over here. So you have price movement, sort of like consultation, then from there you have this consultation, price dropped, consultation, price dropped. So I feel like this is the maximum, just that it doesn't really fit as I wanted it to, because like when you pull it flips again. So it actually ended up hitting this resistance. So this is where we are right now, and price movement, the price movement that I'm looking for, if I am to draw sort of like a descending channel here, as you can see, or a wedge, I mean to say, so it'll be sort of like a wedge with touches from there, so either you can call it a descending channel towards the resistance, or you can call it a wedge towards the resistance, same thing. So at the end of the day, you're gonna have a buy setup. So that's what we have, a buy setup over here. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for price pulling back. As I said, we are expecting strength in euro, price pulling back, having this resistance, then resistance over this area. So that's when you see price making a hover and consolidating over here, then we continue to the upside. Then from there we can actually consider if we want to continue. What we have is a consolidation above this resistance, then from there you can have price moving in a channel towards this upper resistance. So if price doesn't break above and consolidate here, then we are not looking for a sell setup, but only if price breaks above, consolidate, then we can actually look for buy setup, something to say. EURUSD, we had this descending channel towards the resistance, so it didn't really complete to where we are supposed to enter. So as you can see, price is around here, so around 1098, I mean 1.09, somewhere there. So on those points, that where price is right now, what we are looking for is price to descend a bit to this area, then it can actually have either a confluence on this resistance and this resistance, then we can actually buy, or it can actually break this resistance, then we have descend the channel towards the resistance of the channel also. So we have one impulse, the first impulse, second impulse, then third touch over this area, that making it a strong channel to follow. So usually on the third touch, you can actually sell just same as 1, 2. As you can see, the third touch, it's always the strongest to sell or the strongest to buy in this case. So we are waiting for the third touch over this area while this is actually moving in a descending channel, so we can actually have more confidence on this setup. So as I said, we are actually expecting euro to strengthen, so this consolidation problem may be if the US dollar index tries to push a little bit above, that means that the US dollar is going to be strengthening. So in this case, you're going to have the dollar strengthening, price moving to the downside, then we can actually shoot to the upside. Or the other scenario that you can actually have is consolidation over here. So consolidation while this euro is the one that is supposed to strengthen and US dollar is supposed to be weakening. But in another case, you can actually find that maybe euro the euro won't be that strong to pull back the price to this area, so pretty much you can actually see a consolidation. Then at the end of the week, probably you see price moving to the downside, and from there you can actually shoot after. So next, so US dollars are, I think you remember this pattern from euro ZAR. So last week we had this sort of a triangle. I think you saw it on the first pair that we had. Was it the second? I think it was the second pair, I think. So euros are, we had a similar structure as what we have right now. So it's inverse triangle. It's actually facing this side, but normal triangle, I mean, it's like this. Then you have price either moving from downside or price moving to upside. That's your triangle that you have. So in this case, we already have price from this area going to the backward, so from this area going backward, so still a triangle. So what we have is price is to come back to the downside. I don't know what's gonna do, because we still have this first touch, price hasn't reached this resistance. I mean, it's possible that price can just hit the downside without going to that resistance. So without price going to this resistance, price can just shoot to the downside. But with the structures that we have right now inside, like on the smaller time frame, I don't think so. So I'm gonna go through with you on the smaller time frame just to show you what we're looking for. Smaller time frame. So this is a 1 hour time frame. What we have, on a closer look, is this. So we have consolidation over here. Last week we had price moving us in the channel towards this resistance, and then we actually had our first sell, and we were taken out around this area. When we had this consolidation, we were actually a little bit afraid to go through the second sell. So I'm gonna show you the price structure that we have right now. So the price structure that we have is a descending channel toward this resistance. So this is our first resistance, the first touch, second touch that was actually not respected. So that's why I'm actually scraping this out and considering this as a much reliable resistance. So I'm waiting for price to either, let's submit, then I can draw it for you well, to either consolidate on Monday, consolidate over here, going to this resistance on Monday, then shooting to the downside. Then from there you can actually have our buy to the upside, or you can actually have, since US dollar is the one that we are expecting to weaken, you can actually have price pulling back, go to the upside, then pulling to the downside. Then from there you can actually have 1, 2, 3 movement to the outside, to the upside. So that's it for USD ZAR. I mean, it's not really much on this pair. It's just the triangle, then you have this flag, so it's impulse correction. I mean, if it's gonna take a little bit longer, I mean, if this is the next resistance that we have, then it comes back to the downside. I mean, pretty much maybe I'll be looking more for price to move to the downside instead of to wait for it, because now taking a little bit longer to go to the upside, then pull back after. Again, on last week we had US dollar Mexican peso, so I actually highlighted the first touch, second touch, third touch, then I said we're gonna have the last touch around this area. Then also on the second what you call it, second channel inside here, so this was the triangle, so with the upper part of the triangle, lower part of the triangle, then now we have the channel with the upper part of the channel, lower part of the channel. So we had 1, 2, the touch was supposed to be here, then from there we can actually have a big 4. So since we are expecting the US dollar weakening this week, I mean, I think this was the perfect time to sell. So we're just gonna go through this smaller time frame, then you can actually see. So on the smaller time frame, what we had, since this is the thing that I showed you, the first touch, second touch, third touch of this ascending channel that you have, so the upper part of the ascending channel, the lower part of the ascending channel. Then now we have structure, a pattern inside a pattern again. I mean, this is making it a little bit stronger for yourself. So from last week, our first sell, I mean, I explained this, I think price was around here when I explained this, and I was like, price, I think it has to consolidate a little bit, then we can actually move to the upside. But what happened on Monday is like we had a jump when the market opened, and we had price to the upside, taking this entry that we were supposed to have, then from there we could actually sell. So we ended up having price to come back. I didn't trade this on Monday, and we had consolidation, logically we had price movement to the upside. It doesn't touching here, so I didn't really know where to enter, so I just let it. But on Thursday, what ended up happening is we had same structure as what we had on here, I mean, sorry, on here with 1, 2, third touch. That's the same thing as what we had here, 1, 2, third touch over here, then we could sell. So I actually just put my sell limit over here, and what happened, price just triggered us in, consolidated to the downside, price movement straight to this resistance. So if you are planning to enter this trade, what you can do is wait for price to pull outside this channel, then from there consolidate, or price moving to the downside, pull back to here, then from there you can actually move to the downside. So something like this, then you can actually move to the downside. So that's pretty much everything for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, just like it, and don't forget to subscribe.